In October 1992, one moment on live television changed Sinead O'Connor's career forever. Not a scandal, not a crime, just a photograph torn into pieces. At the time, millions of people saw it as an act of disrespect. But decades later, many now believe it was one of the bravest protests in music history. On October 3, 1992, Sinead O'Connor appeared as the musical guest on the legendary TV show Saturday Night Live. She was already one of the biggest artists in the world after the global success of Nothing Compares to You. But that night, she wasn't interested in promoting an album. She came with a message. Instead of performing a typical pop song, O'Connor sang an intense a cappella version of Bob Marley's protest anthem, War. But she changed parts of the lyrics, shifting the focus toward child abuse inside the Catholic Church. Then came the moment nobody expected. As the song ended, O'Connor held up a photograph of Pope John Paul II directly into the camera. She stared forward, tore the photo into pieces, and quietly said, "Fight the real enemy." Inside the studio, silence. No applause, no cheering, just shock. According to former SNL staff members interviewed years later, even the control room froze. Executive producer Lorne Michaels reportedly ordered producers not to use the applause sign because nobody knew how to react. What viewers at home didn't realize was that O'Connor had kept the protest secret. During rehearsals earlier that day, she used a completely different photograph, reportedly a picture of a refugee child, so NBC executives would not suspect anything. The backlash exploded almost immediately. NBC received hundreds of angry phone calls within hours. Newspapers across America condemned her. Religious groups called the act hateful and offensive. 1 week later, actor Joe Pesci appeared on SNL, holding the taped-together photograph, and joked that if he had been there, he would have slapped her. The audience erupted in applause. Even fellow celebrities attacked her publicly. Some radio stations stopped playing her music entirely. And just 13 days after the incident, O'Connor appeared at a tribute concert for Bob Dylan at Madison Square Garden. The crowd booed her relentlessly before she could even sing. For many artists, that kind of humiliation would have ended everything. But the most important part of this story is why she did it. Years later, O'Connor explained that she was protesting abuse and cover-ups inside the Catholic Church, something rarely discussed publicly at the time, especially in mainstream American media. In her memoir Rememberings, she wrote that she had been reading reports in Irish newspapers about children allegedly abused by priests, stories that authorities and church officials often ignored. Back in 1992, many people did not understand her message. There was no social media, no viral explainers, no internet culture capable of instantly spreading context. To millions of viewers, it simply looked like a famous singer attacking one of the world's most respected religious figures on live television. But history would slowly change the conversation. Throughout the late 1990s and early 2000s, investigations around the world uncovered widespread sexual abuse cases involving Catholic clergy and systemic cover-ups by church officials. Suddenly, the protest that once destroyed Sinead O'Connor's reputation began to look prophetic. Even publications like Time and Harvard University later revisited the incident as an example of someone punished for speaking uncomfortable truths too early. O'Connor herself never apologized. In later interviews, she insisted the protest was necessary. At one point, she said, "Some things are worth being a pariah for." Today, the 1992 SNL incident is no longer remembered only as a controversy. For many people, it has become a symbol of defiance. A reminder of what can happen when an artist challenges powerful institutions before society is ready to listen. And more than 30 years later, the image still feels haunting. A lone singer, a silent studio, a photograph ripped apart on live television, and a warning the world would only understand years later.